Hi, I'm Jamie Wolf of Wolfworks in Avon, Connecticut. We're looking forward to sharing how we have learned to design and build right-sized homes of lasting beauty that harvest the sun to produce as much energy as they use, with barefoot comfort, health, durability, and energy security baked in. Many of the homes we've built over the past decade have been recognized and awarded for this performance. We're hoping you'll agree that every home can and should be built to perform the same way, both because they are better homes in such obvious ways and because they are playing their part in the climate solution rather than perpetuating the problem. So let's start with a story. Every home represents an ideal, and that idea of home is embedded in time. Every home, in its size, style, and configuration, tells a story about what mattered when it was built. And over time, that has been a story of larger and larger spaces being built for fewer and fewer people to live in and consuming more energy per person. We practice an ethic described well in this book by Sherry Coons. What she describes as downsizing, we define as right-sizing. Like Goldilocks, the aim is for just right. One of the reasons homes aren't built this way is because, especially here in the land of steady habits, we tend to keep building the way we've been building, with familiar elements and default building practices. We also build based on a familiar and unquestioned relationship we have with energy in our homes. Build what you want, then install a big machine to keep you warm, or at least try to. To keep it running, just fill her up. Then use that dial on the wall to aim for comfort. And every month, we'll get feedback on the cost to maintain that comfort. This relationship is essentially baked in when the house was built. With that comfort or discomfort equation baked in, we may rely, at a cost, on additional fans, heaters, humidifiers, etc., to establish room-by-room comfort zones. Or maybe we just wear more clothes. This is an illustration of how most homes are designed to perform, with moderate insulation, all kinds of hidden locations that leak the air we are paying to warm and simultaneously draw in cold, unfiltered air. You may feel cold standing next to a window, and the temperature varies throughout the house. We actually feel colder in these homes because our bodies lose heat to the cooler surfaces, and drafts and circulating air feel uncomfortable. By making integrated improvements to the building envelope and mechanical systems, we can provide a more dependable comfort field. With twice the insulation, continuous air, vapor, and weather barriers, efficient windows that can harvest the sun to gain as much energy as they lose, a balanced ventilation system for constant fresh air, and even temperatures everywhere with no drafts and warmer walls, we have gained control of all the factors that determine comfort. And while all of this is a result of adhering to the basic principles of physics, what we value is this: we can be considerably and consistently more comfortable in our homes. Because perhaps most importantly, there's no place like home. Our home is not just a machine, it is a harbor. Our homes provide us with shelter and security, comfort and well-being. They provide services that meet our practical needs. And hopefully, they delight and renew us, nourish our social relationships, and are often the hub of our active lives. Our homes can also and should sustain our well-being. Our homes are also a load we carry, and one of our intentions when we build is to to lighten that load. Here's an explanation. So, how do we build differently? For starters, just as for every home, we expect to engineer the structure. For these homes, we engineer performance. We do the math, physics again. And we attend more carefully to all the details. We begin with our building site. Since we intend to harvest free energy from the sun, we locate the building to capture all we can. We designed for the effects of shading with overhangs that welcome winter sun and, like the visor on a cap, keep out summer heat. We favor simple, compact forms with the least surface area for the most living area, complicated shapes being less desirable. We work to eliminate thermal bridges through solid materials that conduct heat and draw energy from the building. We are careful to avoid these conditions when we design the structure or minimize them where they may be unavoidable. Thermal bridges are like the hot handles of a cast iron pan, so we think of this as wearing our mittens. Unlike conventional framing, we design to have less wood and more insulation in our walls. And we choose windows that are airtight and triple glazed for high efficiency. We design our largest areas of glass to face the sun with coatings designed to optimize solar gains. These windows actually produce more energy than they use. Thus, we call this net gain glazing. In this way, the windows do a quotient of the work of our heating system. And, as we described, the windows play an important role in determining how we experience thermal comfort in the home. We tend to favor windows that seal well, which include casement, awning, and European tilt-turn windows. We avoid double-hung and sliding windows as they have greater air leakage. Just as we rely on clothes as a second skin to keep us comfortable in different climates, we rely on the building's walls, roof, and foundation, which is our building envelope, to do a number of important jobs. We can think of this as our third skin. And the strategy is bundle up. So let me introduce you to our building envelope superheroes. In a high-performance enclosure, we rely on our 4 superheroes. We refer to each as a barrier, and each has a different job to do. Every home relies on a weather barrier, a roof, siding, and windows, and each is designed to provide durability and security. Where most homes can lose as much as 1/3 of their heat through air leakage, our goal is air tightness, and with that, the ability to maintain ventilation control. The thermal barrier is our thick winter coat, and the goal here is to significantly reduce the thermal transfer of heat. The vapor barrier assures that we do not create situations in which water vapor could condense and become a liquid that could cause rot or create mold in our structure. Our goal is to understand and manage the mechanisms of vapor diffusion. Each of these 4 barriers must be clearly defined and carefully executed. We pay special attention to the junctions where walls meet the foundation and the roof. It's no coincidence that each of these features of a high-performance homes are the criteria which is inspected and measured by third parties in order to qualify as an Energy Star home. When we design where each of these barriers will go, we want to be able to draw each one with a continuous, uninterrupted line surrounding the whole enclosure. We want to put the pen down, draw the barrier, and never have it leave the page. When it comes to getting it all built the way it was designed, communication and coordination are critical. Here's Janet reviewing details with one of our trade partners. When we design and build, we need to listen and learn from the voices who speak technically, practically, and of course, aesthetically. Get all the voices to the table and listen. And no matter how well we engineer the house to perform, the inhabitant plays a significant role in how much energy it will actually use. In this study of 106 passive house and high-performance homes in Germany, the actual energy used varied significantly more and less from home to home compared to what was originally modeled. Now, folks often wonder how an airtight home provides healthy, fresh air. Well, just like we do, the home actually inhales and exhales the optimal amount of fresh air with a system of balanced ventilation. In this system, stale inside air is exchanged with fresh and filtered outside air while extracting the precious heat from the outgoing warm air. We call this balanced heat recovery ventilation. The system is designed to bring in the same amount of fresh air that is being exhausted. That's the balance. The system is separated from the system for heating and cooling. So how do we use energy in our homes? We use the most energy in our homes to provide thermal comfort, with hot water and a segment for the remaining electrical stuff like lighting and appliances. Our aim is to meet these needs efficiently. By reducing the amount of energy required to heat and cool our homes, we can use small, energy-efficient mini-split heat pumps to heat and cool. We rely on efficient electric heat pump water heaters to provide for our hot water use. And lighting and appliances are selected for their low energy use, with every home we build using induction cooktops. Our goal is to account for and manage our use with an energy balance sheet. In this accounting for system heating, we see that all our energy losses, here listed for window, roof, wall, ground, and ventilation losses on the one side, being balanced by free gains from the sun and the remaining fraction covered by our highly efficient heating system. As the expense of energy has increased, we have been working to make homes more efficient through building codes, energy-saving programs, and new design methods, with homes built to the passive house standard using a sliver of what many existing buildings require. If we invert our energy profiles and consider the amount of energy it is practical to produce on site, we will see that we will achieve net zero for a passive house, but only satisfy the household energy consumption for the rest. Producing more energy gets others closer to net zero for the advanced homes, while the passive house, with its need met, can provide energy for an electric vehicle. So this is what net zero means for us. The amount of energy we require for comfort and operations equals the amount of energy we are able to produce on site on an annual basis. At net zero, we buy nothing. To achieve net zero, we produce everything. This is data taken from a net zero home we built in Farmington. It shows that they achieved that net zero break-even point about 5 weeks early. Thus, the home is net positive. This book by Stuart Brand provides one of the most important contexts for the process we are discussing. At its essence, he is asking, what makes a building get progressively better over time, and what contributes to it becoming worse? He offers this useful framework for thinking about layers of change over time, with the site being permanent and sequential layers of the building changing at different frequencies. These changes oscillate progressively from the churn of stuff to the permutations of space to the service life of equipment services to the performance lifespans of the skin, and finally, and most deeply, to the enduring capacities of the building structure. Each investment locks in that decision's service life and quality. When we view the investments made in each of these layers and their frequency over time, we may conclude that investments in the structure and its skin are eventually dwarfed by the more transient layers of the building. This invites us to advocate for investing in these qualities when we have the opportunity, because those opportunities come infrequently and may matter most. Folks often ask, how much more does it cost to build this way? If we consider that of the 500 or so items we buy to build a house, we need to invest more in only about 5: insulation, air sealing, windows, and some additional framing, plus that special ventilation system. This may amount to 5 to 8% of the cost to build the home. In this energy report, we see that the savings accrue by a factor of about 10x, so you are spending a little to save a lot over time. So let's review. What should we do? Well, remember to bundle up. Hats, boots, jacket, mittens. These are metaphors for the building envelope and all the things we showed that the superheroes accomplished for us. And then find your balance. Calculating the energy balance is essential in all these projects and homes. And remember, invest in the skin and structure when we have the opportunity, because those opportunities come infrequently and may matter most. Recognize how important it is that the strategies you seek to employ need to be baked in, not pasted on, so that you are avoiding locking in high energy use. I like to say that high performance requires that designers perform, that builders perform, and that materials perform. Now, what more do we need to do? Well, we need to look beyond energy to health and recognize the role homes play in living well. When we look at the keys to a healthy home, we need to recognize that these are all baked into a net zero home. Studies connect the dots to reach this conclusion. Net zero homes reduce hospital and medical visits. The frameworks that healthy home advocates promote align perfectly as well. And how about sleep? If home is our new doctor, then maybe light is medicine for sleep. As well as alertness and cognition, net zero homes are open and bright. The WELL building standard frames these same building and design methods around wellness. So, we also need to recognize something that we generally take for granted. Energy is precious. Consider pushing a car the distance it travels when powered by fossil fuels. And how we choose to build matters now. And as important as it is to build homes that can be powered by the sun, we need to think about the impact of building itself. The process of extracting resources and manufacturing materials has an impact now. We need to learn to consider and favor materials that actually store carbon. And while there are many options for materials that do this, many are not readily available or affordable. We have a lot left to learn here. So, with the burden of operation emissions, shown here in red for existing homes, so large, we've been focusing on reducing that load. As we've succeeded in reducing that load over time, shown in blue here, it becomes apparent that the impact has shifted to the embodied carbon in materials and construction itself, especially as we approach the climate tipping point. By favoring materials and methods that sequester carbon, we aspire to bake in and lock in a carbon positive position in this equation over time. Finally, we see the importance of shifting to an energy system integrated around a principle of strategic electrification. Of all things, we are hearkening back to the days of Ready Kilowatt and advocating that we can, in fact, live better electrically. By combining energy efficiency with renewable energy, which we refer to as reduce, then produce, and updating systems of energy storage and distribution through strategic electrification, we are on a pathway to decarbonization. There is one more missing piece, and that relates to the system of valuing and financing these homes. Just as we have a system to evaluate and compare vehicle energy performance, for instance, an electric vehicle gets 99 miles per gallon equivalent and saves $9,600 over 5 years. We need this miles per gallon equivalent for homes, here showing the difference between existing standard new and net zero homes. And with it, we need third-party verification to bring certainty to the market with systems like Energy Star and the EPA's Energy Air Plus designation. And again, let's not forget that we want to craft homes of lasting beauty and conviviality. They're not just machines. This is as important to us as energy performance. Our work has been featured in several of Sarah Suzanka's Not So Big House series of books, as we both subscribe to that right-sizing ethic that favors quality over quantity of space. We believe in building better. We believe that a better home supports a better life while making a real contribution to a better planet. We hope you agree.